Hey guys, welcome to the 103rd live stream. Today's topic is be cautious who you let in or who you trust. It's one of those things that I think that I need to hit every once in a while because a lot of times we get in a situation where we want to believe the uh, the the best of things and we're naive to what's going on. So, this is going to be one thing a little new. You might have noticed this on the podcast, but amazing because I don't have time to read. And that book I offer or I mention, which looks like YouTube is just killing my stream tonight. But anyways, it looks Jack or Richard Fisher. Rebuilding When Your Relationship Ends is actually an audiobook. I actually got that today. And actually on the membership, when you do that, you get a free credit for a thing every month. It's actually pretty cool. And they store. Okay. So hopefully you guys hopefully I'm back. Oh man. I swear it's it's amazing how YouTube just tries to screw with me all the time. Anyways, did everyone miss that? Did everyone miss that the show is sponsored today? Do I need to go through that again? If I do, let me know, and then I'll hit the disclaimers. Looks like it died. I actually saw it come up over here and just completely crash on the other side, which is incredibly annoying. Okay. I will start over. Give me a second. Today's live stream is brought to you by Audible. Audible is offering you guys through the channel a free audiobook with a 30-day free trial membership. All you have to do is just go to audibletrial.com/DSD and sign up, and you'll get to browse their huge selection of books. And what I was saying is one of the books that I often recommend that's in my resources tab is Rebuilding When Your Relationship Ends. They actually have an audio version of that with a pretty good reader on it as well, because some books I've heard that I don't like their voiceovers. And if you're interested in that, you can go to audibletrial.com/DSD and take advantage of that offer. Okay, let's now jump into the show. With the disclaimers. Jeez. The disclaimers are that YouTube might kill my channel at any moment by or actually it's not YouTube, it's my internet provider. Might just say, you know what, you don't need any internet. Internet's overrated. You don't need any bandwidth. Holy crap. Anyways, I am not a therapist. I don't pretend to be one. I'm not licensed or anything like that. I'm an individual just like you guys going through, or not so much anymore, but went through a really tough time, came up with some techniques and skills that worked for me that have proven to work for other folks. So that's what this channel is all about. And if you think that it might help you, then consider hitting that subscribe button. Hit that bell notification so that YouTube will actually let you know whenever I post a video. And if you are interested in my newsletter, which I did finally send one out on Monday, you can sign up for that over at dadsurvivingdivorce.com, and it'll pop up with a little thing on there. You could sign up for that, and I send out little notes of what's going on, some back-end stuff, and it's just another way for me to connect with you guys, and you guys can reply back, which is always awesome. If you want, it should have went out. I don't know if it did, but I did schedule it to send out an SMS today, so you should have received that if you signed up for it. But if you want to get SMS notifications of when I go live, you can text DSD Live to 33222. It will put you on the SMS list, so that will go out. You guys will have to let me know if that actually went out. Let me double check, because I scheduled that earlier and told it to go out. And yeah, it did. Awesome. So that is, okay, so that worked. See, I figured I'd pre-plan that this time so it was in the queue so it would just go. That was the idea. Okay, on that, want to jump into the show? Let me just check and see who is here. Oh, I am going to turn on the phone number. At least I think I'm going to turn on the phone number. Okay, phone number, come up. There it goes. Okay. So if you guys want to call in and talk about something, you can. And the phone number is 424-373-5483. Which is, if I remember correctly, 424 DSD Live. And you can call into the show if you're interested. I'm hoping that Alex might come in. Actually, you know what? Before I jump into everything else, I want to talk about Alex for a minute. And let me go over to Chrome. Move my microphone so I can see the proper person. That's who I'm talking about. He runs the channel, The Proper Person. And Alex, even though it says it here is wrong, is really close to 1,000. And then when I checked earlier, he was at 22 away from 1,000. So if you guys have not had an opportunity or you don't know who I'm talking about with Alex, Alex Falconi runs The Proper Person, which is a site focusing on the, what's the word I'm looking for? The mechanics, I guess, of family court with all the stuff that goes along with it. A lot of great information. Alex represented himself. He had to go do that. Let's see. I'm going to show. Oh, and I'll get to this in a second. Excuse me. Yeah, a great guy, and he hangs out on the DSD Discord server quite a bit, to where you can, if you need to ask him a question, that's been a really good way for people to engage and interact with him. Tremendous resource. You guys should, if anybody is in the midst of family court, absolutely check out his channel, and he's just a tremendous wealth of knowledge. I also did a podcast with him. What I think it was like the second or third podcast. That let's see if I can pull that up. If you go to my channel and you go to podcast, it'll list you all the show notes. You can see there's that newsletter thing I was talking about. So if you scroll down, which one is it? He is, I think, number 3. Alex Falconi, Our Nevada Judges. Really great interview with that I did with him. I'm looking to do another one with him soon to just cover up some other, or not cut, to hit up some new topics that we've been talking about, or that he's in. Whoops, wrong window. I'm sitting here trying to scroll in the wrong window. Yeah, so check out Alex, and he's like I said, a tremendous resource. Let me see if I can. Just refresh his screen and see. Ooh, look, hold on, I got to go back to this. He's at 984. He's getting closer. He did say that he will start live streaming when he hits 1,000. That's his milestone for that. So once we do that, once we get him to 1,000, then you can rest assured that I'm going to harass the crap out of him until he goes live. Anyways, let me see who all we have. We have on tonight. Let me just reset this back so that I'm in the right mode. If I get to the point that I want to show you guys this, and let me make this bigger. Oh, the other thing I wanted to say is I am going to do this right now. James H. So we're gonna have 2 James has volunteered to be a moderator. So I am now adding him as a mod. So we have James F. and James H. who will help keep us safe. One of the discussions we had earlier on the Discord was about the chat right here, this. Just so you guys know, the chat is embedded into this video, and I don't want to delete it because I think it's really good for people who have to watch this on a replay to really see how the chat works and how people talk and communicate with it. But here's the thing. Remember, it is public. Anybody watching the video will be able to see it. If you're using a name that you don't want anyone to know, I would highly encourage you, strongly suggest that you change your YouTube channel name. You can either do one of 2 things. You can actually change the name, or you can create a whole nother channel and I was going to say masquerade, but I guess that's a good word. That will hide who you are. So I mean, technically, the DSD channel is a secondary channel off my main, off my personal account, and that's pretty much the only one I use. So yeah, there you go. Oh man, the view thing ain't working. Just so you guys know, OBS released a new version that I didn't install last week. I installed it earlier today to test it, and it dorked with a bunch of settings. So the fact that we're actually working and it hasn't completely eaten itself is a good thing. Okay, So let me see who all we have in. Lloyd, Lyell says the James gang. I love that. That's pretty funny. All right, let's see the James crew. I love that too. All right, so let's see who we have with us tonight. We have Old Shawnee Road. Welcome. Thanks, Old Shawnee Road, for jumping in. Breaking Bombast is here. Let's see, James H, which he is one of the new mods. So he is here. Oh, Samantha, I think you're new. So welcome to the channel and welcome to a live show. And thanks for jumping in and saying hello. Now let's see. All right, unless you were here last week and I missed it. Erased Grandparents. This is hi from Alberta, Canada. Welcome to you as well. I've seen you in some of the comments. I don't know if I've had an opportunity to respond to you because I'm way behind and it's tough. I wish I had more time and I wish I had internet where so I could do it at lunch and on breaks, but that doesn't really work. So it's kind of annoying. One of these days, who knows? Oh, Blue's on. Bluebell's on. Says hello. Hi, everyone. Let's see. Danielle Funk is on. Welcome. Glad you could jump on. Spiritually Empowered Coaching. Leslee is on. Hey, Leslee. We've been playing text tag and stuff. We're trying to schedule to bring her back on the channel. And I didn't ask about going live on hers, but we should talk about that. I think we're going to try to do something. I think maybe Thursday on that. I have to double check. And Kemi Popcorn from France. Hey, welcome. Thanks for jumping on. You're becoming a regular. Good to see you. And I know it's I know it's a tough time. So thank you for staying up late and hanging out with us. Let me see else who Phoenix TD is on. Hey, Phoenix. Phil Smith is on. So good title and so true. Yeah, talking about today's topic. James A. Oh, I already said James H. Erica S. Hey, Erica. Glad you could jump onto a live stream. Vernice C says, hi, everyone. Hey, Vernice, welcome to a live show. Glad you could jump on. Couldn't hear a thing. Okay, so that's from the beginning. That's when I was having, whenever my internet decided to go. Oh, James reminded everybody if you have a specific question that you would like me to address, you can do that by typing, it makes it easier if you put question so they know it's a question and I can see it. James is pretty good about also tagging me to try to, to get me to see it. We'll hit the topics that you want. Let me scroll down here and then we'll jump into today's show. Oh, Tony Davis is on. Hey, glad to see you. Chris is on as well. Says he's on his tablet but won't be typing much. Hey, but at least you're here, man. That's what counts. And Creeper Van Kevin. Every time I read your name, man, it makes me laugh. So I was making a joke earlier that my job is what makes this happen, and that if I quit my job so I could do this full time, I'd be living in a van down by the river without internet. All right. And Cerebellum, that's a cool name. I like the way you did that. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the show. And Monica Adkins Brown, welcome to the show as well. All right, so let me, I think that's current with the chat. Let me get over to, move around to the right place. Okay, here's the thing on today's topic. And one of the unfortunate truths with folks that are healing from this is when you first find out about narcissistic abuse and you're figuring this stuff out, we have a tendency, and most of us being empaths, and most of us really looking for the best in people, will seek that out and look and see that. I've seen that time and time again with folks in the channel. I've experienced myself before I really started healing with this. And the thing I want you to think about or to be careful about is be cautious who you trust and who you let in. And what I mean, and this even goes for this community, right? If you see somebody and you're like, oh, okay, this other person, they're in the same thing. I met them on this chat and they must be okay. Well, everyone is still people. You all know that narcs have a tendency to peruse these type of channels, and especially on the Facebook forums, and just be cautious. And I know it's tough because we get so jaded to where we want there to be good people out there, and there are good people out there. But you have to be cautious about it so that you don't just arbitrarily let anybody in. And the thing I've noticed is, I've seen a few folks who will find somebody new and they'll be like, "Oh, this person is great." And I'm not gonna bash on anybody or anything like that. That's not my style. And my take on it is that if somebody is really truly helpful for you, then great. That is, everyone has a different message and everyone has a different technique and skill and presentation style that might resonate with you. And if that works, that's great. My only thing I want to mention is that if you are at all feeling like you're hearing, not hearing, I think I'm hearing something in the background, but if your gut is telling you maybe something's not right on this, take a pause. And then that rolls into the second point on this is that not everything we're doing, you don't have to do it fast. And I think coming out of these experiences, we're used to wanting to do everything really fast. And it's like, oh, this person's great, so gravitate towards them. Or, this training class or something is really good. That type of thing. And I think we can get caught up in wanting something so badly that we forget the warning signs. And I think even with this this abuse recovery type community, that we're still susceptible to that. So I want to bring that up just because, like I said, I've seen a few people who've got themselves into some situations where it kind of re-traumatizes them and creates some extra problems. And I don't want that to happen with you. And I want to let you guys know that it's okay to slow down. It's okay if you see somebody new or you're interacting with them to just slow it down and take it slow and say, okay, I'll test the waters. I saw a comment, it's a recurring comment that happens on a lot of the narcissistic abuse recovery forums. And that is, how do you know if the person's a narc? Well, you say no and you set boundaries. And that's what we all should do. We should slowly slowly integrate or interact with people and test the waters and make sure we know what we're getting into and that we really can trust these people. And when I say these people, I'm talking about the new people, not the narcissistic type. So would be interesting what you guys think about that. If hopefully that's helpful, because like I said, I see this come up periodically, and every once in a while I want to readdress that. And the proper person actually jumped on. Hey, Alex, you missed all the part where we were pimping out your channel and trying to get people to subscribe, which I think they were. So, okay, so let me see where we are with the comments, because I got things flying all over the place. And let me see where we are. And let's see. Dansky says the proper get the champagne out 1K coming. Congrats. That is awesome. Hopefully, that would be, what I need to do? Let me do this. I'm going to get rid of my speed test, and I'm going to pull it up so I can kind of watch it. And then if he rolls over, let me do Social Blade. If he rolls over, I will show that. The proper person. Let's see if this will actually resolve him. I know let's see, let me do this. Oh, he couldn't be found. Might be because he doesn't have a custom, what's the word I'm looking for? URL. Where we go? Wait a minute. There we go. There he is. All right, let me bring this up while I'm trying to bring this up. And live subscriber count. There we go. And I'll just kind of keep that. I'll keep that in the background, so if it gets closer, I can jump over to it. So we're trying to throw you some love, Alex. And if you wanted to call in, I mentioned that I texted that to you earlier. I didn't text you the number, but if you want to do that, let me know. And if you guys can, yeah, share some YouTube love with Alex from the proper person. Okay, so let me scroll back up here and get back into the comments. I think I cut my finger this morning. Or no, I know what it was. I stuck it in one of my bushes and I got prickles all over it, and I think I got something stuck in me, which is just outstanding. All right, let me see. And Chris says, hit the like button. And I don't have a thing. My like button, it's busted. I mean, you can see it over there, and normally it shows the likes, and I got the views, but I don't have the likes. I did something wrong, or something's not working, and I'm not really sure how to fix it. I'm not going to mess with it while we're online. The problem is that it doesn't replicate until it's actually on. So it's one of those things where I can't really test it unless it's on. Ooh, he just got another subscriber. The number went back up. See, it's like. Anyways, I should scroll it down so I'm not showing ads that don't belong to me. Okay. Oh, hey Lorenzo, haven't seen you on a while. Says the internet and social media facilitates narcs. That is absolutely true. And the anonymity of it just facilitates trolls, which typically are narcs. Ooh, Lyell says we need a book, The 5 Stages of Narc Recovery. That's an excellent idea. I mean, I could just base that off the video I made. Wow, good idea, Lyell. I know you're going to say that's another $100 idea. All right. Let's see. Oh, dang it. It's like the thing just scrolled down again. I hate it when it does that. I don't know. Maybe I need to ask my YouTube person and say, hey, can you guys fix that? Because it's really annoying that it does that. So. Oh, Sarah Bellum says, I went to get coaching from a YouTube Narc therapist that said she's recovered borderline and she ended up abusing me. Oh my God, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, guys, be really careful, and hopefully, Sarah, let me ask you this, and I'm not going to repeat the name just because, but I think you put it in the comments. Did you recognize that quickly, or did you get kind of far down the rabbit hole before you realized that wasn't good? So I'd love to hear your experience on that. And I'm sorry you went through that. And guys, that's what I'm talking about. Okay. And and I'm glad you brought that up, because this is a really great point, because it also is the same thing for therapists. If you're searching for a licensed therapist, then you need to be cautious as well. Now, I'll on all honesty, whenever I started going to therapy, I started the whole process like, okay, I'm going to trust this person from day one, and boom, I'm just going to go for it. I am just going to, unless something happens that shows me that something's wrong, I'm going to embrace the process. Now, fortunately, thank God, in my situation, I had an outstanding therapist. She's phenomenal. I am so grateful that I just kind of found it. She fell into my lap basically, and just, found her by sheer dumb luck. But if that therapist is not resonating with you, and you're leaving those sessions feeling worse and feeling more traumatized and feeling victimized, you need to find someone else. That goes the same thing for coaches. I know they're not. So it's the same thing, right? Everyone out there is just a human, just like us. Yes, they have different skill sets and credentials sometimes, and you need to be cautious on who you allow into your life and who you trust. And I know it's a little tough for on those type of things, because you anticipate that somebody who's putting themselves out there is skilled and that you can trust them, especially when you're hurting. So just be careful. Okay, so Sarah says it happened immediately, but wasn't sure until the second time. Yeah, it takes a little bit of time, but so I'm glad that it only was a couple of times. And one of the things I'll mention about in my situation, I remember at some point getting to the point that I was like, man, why am I even going to therapy? This is even with a really great therapist. And I remember there were there were a handful of times where I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go this one more time, and then I'm done. This is just ridiculous. I'm not getting anywhere. And something would happen in that session where it would just something would click, and then I would like, okay, I'm coming back. Like I said, she was phenomenal. She was one of those types where I would be having a conversation and explaining something, and she would like, oh, that's like, that, that reminds me of what you said about, your mom or whatever, about your relationship with your mom that you said, 9 months ago. I remember the first time that happened. And I was like, you remember that? So she had a phenomenal memory. Nah, probably she was looking at her notes to remind herself before I came in. But bottom line is, it was a really great experience. Okay. Nikki says, I had to take a break from social media. That is a really great idea. And if you're stressed about it, I would encourage someone to do that. And you can do that a couple different ways. You can not terminate. You can do, what's the word? Dormant. You can basically shut your account off to where it shuts the whole thing off. And it doesn't delete it. There's a way to delete it to where it's completely gone. But if you do that, it's basically dormant and you're offline until you sign back in. I actually did that myself. And to be honest, like my personal Facebook, I don't log in too much. I normally stay on the one I'm in all the time is the Dwayne Robert one, and the one associated with Dad Surviving Divorce. So, all right, let me look at this. Creeper Van Kevin says, this channel is like therapy for me. Oh, thanks, Creeper Van Kevin. And that's what it's about. It's to bring a community of folks together, try to get us all on the same page, focusing on some positive things, and start the healing, start getting our lives back, which is a heck of a lot harder to do than it should be. It should be that part's annoying. All right, so let me look at the live comments. Lorenzo says the dog always bites the person with ripped pants. I think what you're saying on that is that whenever you're hurt, they know that you're an easy victim. I think that's what you're saying, which I think is true. Creeper Van Kevin says, Alex, I sent the troll army to sub to you. Ooh, I'm gonna look where he's at. He's at 990. He's got 10 left to go for 1,000. If he hits 1,000 tonight, he better go live tomorrow. That's what I'm just saying. That's just what I'm saying. Lyell says there's only one way to keep a secret. Not tell it, I guess. I can imagine how hard it might be to trust a therapist in a small town. Oh, dear God. Yeah, that would be... technically, talking about sponsorships, I'm looking into... actually, I kind of almost am there with the BetterHelp people. And I'm really fascinated by this. It's the online licensed therapy broker, basically, to where you can actually interact with a therapist through your computer, through telephone, video, text, and email. And it's weird. It's like if you're going, I was looking at it for me, before, and even for my son, is if you, let me try to think about this right. If I went to a therapist every week, with my copay and stuff like that, it would be about the same price, right? Except that you can actually interact with people more. Anyways, I'm just mentioning it. More to come on that. We'll see what's going on with that. I think in the last live stream I had an affiliate link for them, and I'm excited that therapy is starting to go online. I know Debbie's working on her credential to basically become a therapist. It's a long process. There's a lot of ethics things in there, and there's a lot of rules for it, right? And somebody who's like in California, if you're licensed in California, you legally can't provide psychotherapy to someone in a different state. You have to be licensed in that area to do that. So it's really complicated. So the cool thing about like BetterHelp is that they have a broker of therapists in all states, right? So they can find other people who can legally do that. I kind of went off on a tangent on that. Let me see where I'm at with this. And dang it, it's moving around. Alex says to me, it shall be done. Awesome. He's at 991, guys. Just saying. 991. 9 more left. Oh man, I cannot say your name. Let me try this. I'm going to cheat. And if I can get my computer to come back to life. Let's see here. Milagros Aponte, I think, says, so informative. Thank you. Hey, welcome to the channel, Milagros. And I'm probably butchering your name. I turned on the thing to speak your name and it was too low. I couldn't hear it. Anyways, so let's see. Oh, cool. James is offering to mod Alex's channel, which is awesome. You guys are great. This is such an awesome community. And Dynasty of Three says it varies from different states. Yeah, I mean the licensing requirement. If you're talking about the therapy thing, yeah, the licensing requirement. Actually, it's really weird because the requirements in California are a lot harder, and there's more you have to do than. And I'm just going to throw a state out there, and I don't really know, so don't hold me to it. But like, let's say Georgia. So just because you have your license and you have your credential for Georgia doesn't necessarily mean if you move to California that you would have all your tickets punched to be able to get credentialed and licensed. Typically what happens though is California, I mean, like even my family who are cops, this is one thing. It's like, if you get your post certification for law enforcement in California, pretty much you can work anywhere else in the United States. You know, whereas if you got your certification in law enforcement in another state, you probably might have some other requirements you have to do that. Why is this not scrolling right? It's like my screen over here is not working right. Excuse me. All right. Oh no, Angela said she almost collapsed on the beach today. I'm grateful for the Good Samaritan who helped me today. Oh, that's terrible. I mean, I'm glad you're okay, but what happened? I'm trying to scroll back. And then Sarah had said earlier, yes, she kept bringing the conversation back to herself, but I needed to be heard, so she got me for a few bucks. But I swore I'd tell the community to warn everyone. Man, that sucks. And I've seen a few therapists like that. I think my kid's therapist was like that. I mean, some of the stuff she would say to the kids was just like, I'm like, seriously? Did you get your license out of a Cracker Jack box? But that one was one of those things where I wasn't really in a position to change it because of the ex. So I was just glad that they were getting help. Fortunately, their kid's therapist was professional colleagues with my therapist, so they would talk, and I'm like, absolutely, please communicate. You know, if you need to tell her something or vice versa, you know, do that. Where are we at? Oh, yeah. Sarah says she's going to sub to Spiritually Empowered channel. Yeah, you guys got to check out Leslee, too. She still does most of her stuff on Facebook. She does daily lives, which I hardly ever get to jump into. And if I do, typically it's just, you know, I'm like while I'm taking a shower, just getting ready. So I don't really get to participate, which is frustrating. Let's see. Let me look over here. Where are we at? Now I got to scroll around and get things working again. Creeper Van 7 said, Alex, I may unsub just to be the 100th guys, or 1,000th. You guys are bad. All right. Let's see. All right. I'm trying to get back into the conversation because it scrolled around and I'm trying to figure out where I'm at. And Angela, if you could say what in the world happened, I would. I mean, if you don't want to, that's cool. I get that. So, and Lyell, you were talking about wanting to call in about the stages. Be my guest, man. The number is 424 DSD Live. So, actually, I don't think we had it. We didn't have one caller last week. Oh, panic attack. Okay. So Angela says, panic attack, Dwayne, like never before, heart and head pounding, fighting to breathe, sick to stomach, thought that was it. Dramatic hug. All traumatic history events crashed at once. You know, and I can relate to that. I do have issues with that still. It's really kind of annoying. You know, and it's scary because you don't really know, right? You know, when it, and I know what you're talking about. When it happens, you're not entirely sure. Your brain can go, oh, it's just a panic attack. And then the other, you know, your inner voice is going, but is it? You know, maybe this isn't a panic attack. Maybe this is the time things really go wrong, right? I had a friend of mine a couple of weeks ago who a coworker, or we used to be peers way back when, before our divorces, and yeah, he just had a stroke, a stroke and 2 heart attacks, and he's not coming back to work. I mean, so I'm not sure, how he's doing. I've tried to reach out to him, but he's not really in a spot to do that, and it's just that stuff's scary. It's scaring me. I can tell you that one for darn sure. Monica says, I'm finally able to laugh after almost a year of anger, grief, depression, and etc. That's a lot of times it takes a long time, and I'm glad to hear that you finally hit that point. It looks like we do have a caller. I'm not entirely sure. So let me hit a couple buttons here so that I get everything working right. Make sure the caller audio is on, and we'll go ahead and grab you. Now, if you are the caller, please make sure you turn down your computer and hopefully have headphones on so we don't get that really annoying echo. And I'm going to try to drop you in right now. Hello, this is Dwayne. Can you hear me? Hi.
Yeah.
Who do we have?
How's my audio?
You sound good.
Lyell.
All right, Lyell. Let me turn you up just a tad because I think you're a little low. So.
Let me turn down my air conditioner. Brought to you by Super Freeze Air Conditioners. A little joke about being sponsored.
That is awesome. I love it. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. While you're doing that, in the Discord, people were saying, I'm going to start wearing a jacket with all the different logos and stuff in the background, and coffee, which technically, crap, I got to turn this coffee cup around. Anyway, so how's it going, Lyle?
Okay. Really hot here in New York, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I wrote you like a response to the last video you did, which I thought was very good.
Thanks.
And I typed about 1,000 characters before I realized I could only type 200. Or maybe I did something wrong, but the whole thing I wrote out was just lost it.
I was gonna say I didn't remember seeing that. It didn't post then?
No, it didn't make it because.
Damn it.
There's a lot of times I don't know what I'm doing when I'm on the computer, or where I'm at.
Sometimes
or what
it
page
does
I'm
that.
on,
Well, I'm sorry.
Anyway, it's really nice, little music in the background and the little dissolve, you had in there, nice production value,
Oh, thanks.
I'd like to say something about. First of all, I'd like to divide it up into the topic because of a few you trust.
Yeah.
Because I think you and I and probably a lot of people here kept giving the ex the benefit of the doubt over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And the one thing that you hear throughout your life from all the philosophers, all your teachers and everything, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Yeah.
But you just don't want to believe that this person who you've been with for so long is doing this to you.
Absolutely.
The other thing is, I'm trying to work the delay here. I should know this from working in television. The other thing is that I have a sister, half-sister, who is very sweet. I think she's probably one of the nicest people you'd ever meet in the world. But I just can't, it's probably from what happened to me, I can't help but feel suspicious if she's talking to my ex.
Oh, right.
And that sounds crazy, but what also was crazy was me for many years blaming the ex's lawyer, blaming the ex's boyfriend, blaming everybody but her. Until I realized, yeah, she really is a bad person. And I couldn't get my head around that.
I can relate to that one.
The other thing I'd like to say about the stages is that if you're in, I'm at stage 5. I'm at there's no more going to court anymore.
Right.
So I could care less what my ex-wife sees if she shows this channel or not. I'm not going to purposely put stuff up that is going to offend her.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what I wrote in my notes. I just want to paraphrase the gist of what I was trying to say in the post I wanted to leave you today. Is that, whatever stage you're on, people tell you it's going to be better. It does not going to mean that you're going to end up getting what you want. What it means is that you're going to have to accept whatever happened, do what you can do to change if you can, but if you can't, you're going to have to accept it and go on with life.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, you're just going to go insane.
Absolutely.
And life will get better when it stops. When my tax problems became, the day my tax problems became bigger than me thinking about my situation, that was the day I knew that I had crossed a barrier into getting on with my life, and that there were problems bigger that I had to deal with. Now, if you're in the early stages, I can understand how, be careful what you put on the internet, be careful what you put in the emails.
Yep.
I would keep a log of everything. I'd even record all my phone calls, even if it's just for your own satisfaction of what you actually said, of what they accuse you of saying over the phone.
Right.
Even if you never bring it up, if you can't use it in court, for your own satisfaction, I would do that if you can. Because you could play it back I could play that back to my daughter 5 years from now. You want to hear what happened? Here's what happened.
Yeah.
And I do wish, but don't think that you could go back. People like to play these mental experiments of, if you went back 10, 15 years, what would you have done differently? And you know what? You wouldn't have done anything differently.
Yeah.
What you have to ask yourself is, do I like myself? If you answer yes, you're in a good place.
Yeah.
You have to ask yourself, can I sleep at night? You say yes, you're in a good place. But there's so much self-doubt that goes into what happened because of all the accusations, because of all the gaslighting and everything. And I know that there was a lot of more things that I wanted to say, but I just want to say that, things will get better does not mean that you won't have some hurt that you carry with you for the rest of your life.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Don't be pessimistic about that. Just be very thankful that, you're alive. And it's very hard for people to do sometimes, But it's a great gift, whether religious or not. It's a great gift to just think that, hey, I'm alive, Go live your life, It's a great thing to be alive. It's hard. We all become very wrapped up into what happens to us. But
Absolutely.
I just thought I'd put that out there as sort of a motivational thing, because I feel for all these people, and I want everybody to know that it does get better, but just don't think that it's going to get better in the way that you would like it to be, because you're going to be disappointed. I'm sorry to say that, but I haven't seen my daughter for 3 years.
Yeah.
A lot of other people are in the same situation, but I think that there should be advice for people that are just starting this out, in the middle stages where they're in court for the second time, and people like me who have been doing this for 16 years.
Yeah.
And even longer than you have, I would guess.
Yeah.
And you said in that video, oh my God, I've got to live another 12 years like this? And yeah, you do. You got to live the rest of your life like this.
But it doesn't feel the same way, though. That's the key.
Yeah, you will find that, the intensity of your emotions over this thing will diminish.
Yeah.
And that other things will take precedence. I mean, you found somebody else. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That one thing, if you find a good person, because I think most of us would be too scared to get into a relationship again,
Oh, yeah.
And, good for you, man. Good for you, I mean, that will help a lot. There are a lot of things, if you just get on with your life, a lot of people will just sit there and, I hate to say it, but I know I did it myself, feel sorry for yourself. and want all of this sympathy from all your friends and everything, but there's a point where they're not going to want to hear your story again. You know? And I know I've said that before, but I just thought I'd put some of those ideas out there, and because I haven't spoken or written anything long in a while, and that's a lot of what I put in that post that never that disappeared. So,
well, hey, before you go, one thing I just want to say, or just bring up, that just so people have some context, you're all this stuff you're talking about, where you've really turned and got to this phase 5, has been what, in the last 4 or 5 months, right? I mean, if 3 months, I mean, because you were really, really struggling and angry and in a dark place, and the way you're talking now isn't the Lyell I knew, that I was talking with, months ago, right?
Right, and that's because of two things. My daughter turned 18,
Yeah.
and she graduated high school, and that kind of says, well, there's no more doors open to me without her trying to get in touch with me. If the ex is dead set on never letting me see her,
Right.
and as long as she lives with her mother, I know that one day I'm going to see her again. But
Yep.
I have to, I got to get off the
Merry-go-round.
I got to get off the,
chaos.
Screaming, everybody here is crazy and you're in an insane asylum,
Yeah.
So one of my college professors told me once when I was whining about something, you're not crazy, I mean, but you just have to accept the fact that other people are. Other people will do these, and I say this quite honestly, these evil things, these immoral things to you.
I agree with you.
And that's why I wish somebody in her family would reach out and say, come on, man, you can't let a father not see his daughter. That's just morally wrong. I don't care what he did.
Yeah, it's crazy that people don't do that. I've often thought that when someone goes down this path, that people can just buy into it and go, okay, I mean, it's like they don't. It's. I mean, I don't want to tell my story, but I mean, I hear exactly what you're saying, and it blows my mind that more people don't do that.
I know blood is thicker than water, but there has to be somebody out there that knows the situation that's got to say to her, come on, you can't let a father not see his daughter. I mean, to me, I couldn't imagine preventing my ex-wife from seeing her daughter.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine it. But I bet you a lot of people listening to this right now are saying the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
They can't believe that their ex is like they are.
Yep.
So anyway, I hope I hit a few points that some people
I
might
appreciate
find,
it. That's great points. Wow.
Interesting. And I think this all does have to do where you are, what stage of this you're in, because it's like the 5 stages of death. It's like you really do go through these different stages. Maybe I'll write a book about that.
Yeah, you should.
And then you can have me as a sponsor.
Awesome. I appreciate that.
I'm threatening to write books.
No, you should.
Okay. Creeper, Lloyd 1L. No, people have been spelling my name wrong all my life. But,
oh, yeah.
Okay, thanks, Dwayne. I'll let somebody else have a chat if they want to. I don't want to take up so much of your time. But thanks a lot, and I'll write some more on the Discord and stuff. I'll put my thoughts together. And
awesome.
I just never seem to get in the Discord when anybody's there,
Yeah.
That's where you go on and there's no one on.
It's tough, and I don't get to get on there as much as I would like to. Every once in a while I can get on. There's generally somebody there, though. Most of the time, there's at least somebody. So it might be the people that are on the other side of the planet, though. All right. Hey, thanks for calling, Lyell.
Okay.
All right. So hopefully I did that right. Hey, and here's the thing I just want to reiterate with what Lyell was talking about. And for some of the folks that have been here on the channel for a while and have seen the transition that he's gone through, and it's amazing. It's a complete change. And he is right about the fact that yes, and I know I don't normally hit this point, partly because I don't want people in the early stages of it to think that that wound is going to be there forever. But here's the way to look at it, though, and let me finish that thought. What I mean is even for me, there is some residual pain from this, right? It's dull. It's a dull pain, and it really doesn't negatively affect my life anymore. But I would be lying to say that it's a bowl full of rainbows and I never think about anything. That's not realistic. But it's different than the way it is at the beginning. I mean, when at the beginning stages of it, I was so angry, so hurt, and it was overpowering. And as you work through those stages, like Lyell was talking about, you really do start to heal from this, and you really start to shift your priorities, and and at one point he made a comment about, at some point you just have to make the decision that if you don't step off this crazy train, he didn't say it that way, but you're going to be trapped there forever. And it's tough because it takes a long time to get to the point to where it took me a long time to get to the point where that was where I was at, where I'm like, okay, I have to stop this because it will just, I can't do it anymore. And actually, he was talking about the IRS thing. I think for me, what hit me on that was whenever she took me back for, not took me back, but she was going for the retirement money, and it just crushed me. And I was just like, seriously, this is never going to end. And I nearly broke on that one. That whole thing was very tough. But that was kind of the pivot point to where I'm like, okay, I've got to change this because I can't keep doing this. It's just, it's weird though, because you can't, I can't tell you what is going to be your pivotal moment. What is going to be the thing that really fundamentally changes your view on this and to make that decision. Some people can get to that at 6 months. Other people, it could take 4 years. The average trend, I think, is about once you really start working on it, it's a couple of years. I mean, if I concluded all the time before, I could say it took me, I could say it took me 20. Oh my God, that's a long time. It took me a long time, Anyway, so let me see what else we got going on here. So thanks, Lyell, for calling in. I really appreciate it. And Lyell's been a tremendous support to the channel, and I really appreciate that. I don't necessarily want to call him out, but some people do the support during the live show. They do the super chat thing. He's been an advocate, or not an advocate, a supporter of the channel for a long time, and he was one of the earlier ones that did that. And Lyell, I really appreciate that. It means a lot to me, and to see your growth, it means a lot too. So, and I hope people who are listening and watching can get some inspiration from your story, because your story still hurts. Like you mentioned it, but you still are not able to really you don't have a relationship with your daughter, and now you're at a point where you're, like you said, you're just waiting for it to happen. And the way you said that a minute ago, someone could think, oh, okay, well, you're healed on it. I mean, that's still a really painful situation to have to hold into your heart, but you can't let it consume you and destroy you. Lyle says, when you get rich, Dwayne, remember me. I will always remember you, Lyle. One of these days when I can get on your side of the planet on the west or east coast, we'll have to go get I don't drink, but we'll have to get a coffee or a tea or something. It'd be nice to actually meet up with you. Okay, let me see where else we are with comments, see if I missed anything. And let's see. I'm scrolling back. Monica says, God will have to send the right one. I'm not looking. And that, honestly, that's the key. Heal yourself. Get to the point where you love yourself. You are okay. You're at peace. And my experience has been, and everyone I've known, when you get to that point, it's like, okay, all right, you figured this part of your life out. So let's add the next thing into it. I mentioned this before. I mean, that's, oh crap. No, there's not a live caller. Thank you. I forgot to turn off the button. The problem is that the way I'm doing this, over my preview is a little call box that shows shows everything. And what happens is I can't see it, so I forgot to turn it off. So thank you for that. So yeah, it was off. Normally I have another window that lets me see it, but I don't know. It'd be nice if I could. You know what? Here, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this real quick, just so you guys can see the annoying thing that I'm talking about. And let's see if I do this. So if no, I did that wrong. Let me go like this, and then I'm going to grab. Oh, it's not working. Okay, that. Okay, what I'm trying to show you is this little this thing right up. Whatever. Never mind. That didn't work. That was a train wreck. Oh dear God. Sometimes I really just I think I try to be too smart for myself, and I just create more problems. So never mind. Holy cow. All right, let me see where we're at. God, that was funny. Anyways. Lyell says, if I didn't joke around, I would cry. Oh man, I can relate to that one. I can absolutely relate to that one. So looks like we have another caller coming in. So we'll see what happens after the screening thing. So thanks you guys for using the caller thing, because I mean that does cost. I'm actually paying for that, so it's kind of nice to actually use it. All right, let me see while it's going through that. It's going through the screening process. And let's see. Danielle says, I'm not looking either. I'm scared of men right now. Guys, here's the thing. And I was telling you I was listening to that book, you know, let me pull it up. Rebuilding. Actually, let me do it this way. Rebuilding when your relationship ends. Okay. So this is not that one. This is the book I was talking about. I mean, this is where it was the Audible thing. And, you know, one of the things it mentions in that is taking the time to really heal before you enter into a relationship. And it's really critical to do that. And the part of the problem is you're not really sure when. Like I've mentioned before, you know, when I started dating Debbie, I thought I was healed. You know, the ex was leaving me alone, but I hadn't dealt with everything. All I had done is I hadn't read this book, wasn't going through that, and or doing the Audible version. I have like the third or the second version, so I was doing this one. I just got that one today. I was listening to that on my way down into town to go get my blood work done. And yeah, I mean, it's just, you know, take things slow. One of the things, and I'm going to grab. It looks like Liz is online on the call, and I'll grab her in a second. One of the things is I think a lot of times we'll get so scared that we want to find someone new and we want to rush into something too quickly. So give yourself the time. There is absolutely nothing wrong with taking a break and slowing down. Now, Nikki says, I attract creeps, married men. I'm staying single. That's annoying. Sorry about that. Okay, Liz, I am going to try to grab you. So again, if you, and Alex just jumped up. He's at 994 right now. Liz, I'm going to grab you, bring you on. That didn't sound right. Turn off your volume on your computer if it's up. And if you have headphones, please use headphones. And what am I doing? I'm hitting the wrong button. Hello, this is Dwayne. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, how are you doing today or tonight?
I'm doing okay, thank you.
What did you want to talk about tonight?
So I just want to say thank you for your show. You have helped me out so much. Still trying to finish off the divorce now of 4 years. Technically, when I left my ex, I had no idea what narcissism was.
Yeah.
And I have grown so much since then. A lot of it was due to your channel. And I just really, really, really want to thank you for that.
You're welcome.
I haven't been able to work, so I have had a lot of chance to heal. But thanks to your channel, you really brought me through. I mean, you were the only one who, at the time I could see years ago, were dealing with these topics, the very topics I was dealing with. So
Yeah.
that really, really was, first of all, validation right there. So, but yeah, in regards to tonight's topic about trusting again, that's really kind of a really iffy topic. Like, I'm trying to learn to trust again. Like, I'm not used to talking to men because my ex had me so isolated. And now that I'm volunteering during the day and so forth, there's this person that I think is gaslighting me. And even though I've healed emotionally, like completely, like I have no grudges, I still have to heal from this psychological aspect. And I didn't know if maybe you had any resources for that. Because there comes to a point where you kind of like, I don't know what term you use, like hyperventilate or whatever it I'm
Panic
saying,
attack.
like look into things too much that aren't there. No, not so much that, but more like my mind rolls. Like, okay, is this person like gaslighting me? Because I know they said this then, and now they're saying the opposite. And, you know, it's part of it is, are you attracting these people because you're not fully healed yet?
Right.
Or is it, am I completely looking into this situation too much? And I know I've seen both. And so I really want to be able to heal from the psychological abuse, even though I've already healed emotionally, if that makes any sense.
No, it makes
So
no, it
how
makes
did you know
absolutely.
when to trust Debbie and that kind of stuff? So, yeah.
That's okay. Great question. Do you want to hang on the line, or do you want to drop off, or?
I can hang on. That's fine.
Okay. So, first thing I want to say, Angela just did a super chat. Says thanks. She says, sorry, gotta go. Heat wave boiling in the room. Catch up with you all. All the love. Thanks, Angela, for the support. I really appreciate it, and hopefully you can cool down. Okay. So here's the thing on that, and it's a really good question. And I know exactly what you're talking about because I went through the same thing. And we all go through this phase to where we're second guessing ourselves and we are hyper vigilant. That's the word I was looking for. Hyper vigilant, looking for people who are toxic. And you see them everywhere, right? So the one part about it is whenever you're dealing with people and they don't really have any impact on your life, hopefully you can kind of give yourself a little bit of separation on that to where it's like if somebody who is a coworker and they're not really in your management or they have any influence over your life, it doesn't really matter. It's still at that stage of the game. It still hurts a lot and it still brings back those emotional flashbacks. Okay. The second part of this, I did date somebody before the divorce was final, after I had moved out, and that was a train wreck. And I was hyper vigilant on that. And I wish, it's weird because in some ways I wish I wouldn't have done it, but in other ways, I kind of needed the experience for one part of it just to give me the reality that not everybody was my ex, right? I mean, I was married for 21 years. She was really the first person I really dated and the first person I was with, so I had not much experience. However, what I will say is that relationship was not good. There was a lot of codependency issues and red flags going off, and it only lasted. Actually, I think we did. And that one I dated her for a few months, and then there was a blow up, and then to her that cycle is a month later. Then there would be this attack that would come at me, not attack, but just like a reaching out, like a hoovering, I guess. And then the first time it happened, it was. I'm trying to remember. It was kind of like she says something, like, oh, well, something sarcastic. And I'm like, well, I never said that. Oh, well, that's what I thought you said. Well, no, you know what I mean? It was one of those things where we had this conversation where it's like, oh, it was a big misunderstanding. The first time that happened, I was like, oh, okay, it's a misunderstanding, but we're talking about it, right? Because I never really talked with my ex. So it was still a little bit different. It wasn't the same. But the second time that happened, I was done. And I didn't know about no contact at the time. And I don't necessarily consider that person a narcissist. I think we both were emotionally damaged at the time and we weren't ready for it. Okay. So now the second part of what your question is when I met Debbie, I was at the point in my life where I did feel really good about things. Now, so what I mean is like I'd come to peace to where I was at physically and emotionally, because nothing was happening. The ex wasn't really attacking me. I still didn't know about narcissism at the time. So I was kind of effectively going no contact, but I didn't really know it was no contact, right? I was just basically staying away from her for my own sanity. And what happened is everything was basically good. Like I was happy with when the kids were with me. I was happy when I was by myself. I was doing okay at work. I was feeling good about what the possibility of the future was. I wasn't even worried about dating anymore. I'm like, you know what? I don't care. It'll happen. I'll be at the grocery store and I'll meet somebody, right? I mean, I wasn't worried about it. And that's when Debbie came into my life. Now, and I know let me go through this real quick and then I'll get to the second, or the main part of this is, well, actually, I don't really need to say that part. I'll just go into this. So when I started dating Debbie, I was cautious about everything, right? Now, the thing about Debbie and I is we are really kindred spirits. I mean, we think along the same lines. We communicate very similarly. Actually, I think I learned from that some of our communication styles is kind of annoying. So I think we both kind of growing from that. But she was treating me well too, right? I mean, I was so used to and like I said, I thought I had healed from my past relationship, and I hadn't. And one of the examples of that for me was I would put myself down a lot. If I made something for her to eat, I'm like, hey, I made this for you. And then I would always say, but you're probably not going to like it, or, hey, try this drink, try this coffee, but you're probably not going to like it. And I remember at one point she's like, why are you doing that? Why are you keep putting yourself down? You don't even know if I would like it. Why are you, and most people, and you could probably relate to this, Liz, is that you're so used to being put down and ridiculed and shamed that it's a preemptive strike. It's you're putting it out there so that whenever you are attacked or you are belittled, that it doesn't hurt. Okay, so my point is, she never did that, and she was incredibly supportive. And when I started having my meltdown, kind of like Lyell was talking about with the taxes thing, there was a period of time where Child Support Services was coming after me really hard. Tax people, or the state of California was coming after me for taxes really hard. And I imploded on myself. And there were times where Debbie would say, hey, why don't you come up and we can go see a movie? And I was so depressed and I was so down that I was retreating into my house, and I didn't want to do it. And I was expecting even then that she would basically poke me in the eye, because my ex and my mom used to poke me in the eye all the time. And I expected it, and she wouldn't. And what would happen is it would drive me down in more of an abyss because I hadn't healed from it. So her treating me the way I always wanted to be treated for the previous 45 years of my life actually sent me into a deeper spiral. To be perfectly honest, I'm surprised that Debbie and I were able to make through it. I don't know, Liz, if that really covers what you were talking about. But what's your take on what I just said?
Yeah, well received. A lot of the things that you said, very similar to what I went through. This is kind of like a coworker that I'm dealing with on a regular basis now, this new person that I'm dealing with. And I'm not sure if they're gaslighting me or not. But any suggestions? I mean, I know we all want to take a pill and be fixed.
Right.
But at the same time, I know we need to learn to love ourselves in the current position of where we're at. But it's like, is there like a book or something I can read to kind of help me move toward healing from all the gaslighting and the mental abuse? Or is it kind of just based on getting to know people as time happens, and then you kind of learning and discerning from that point?
Okay, so the book, it makes sense, and I don't have a book that specifically hits that topic, and I need to start doing some more research on that. That's something I need to start working on. But what I will say, the book that did help me with a lot of that was that Rebuilding When Your Relationship Ends, because the premise behind that book, and I can't pull it up, but it breaks everything into this cycle of emotions that you're dealing with in a pyramid type mountain metaphor. And it hits a lot of those different things, not specifically. I mean, so it's more of a broader approach to it. But, and I mean, I know that's not a great answer. And I'll ask that in the community on the Discord and see if other people have some recommendations on it. Cause I know there's a bunch of stuff out there, that could be helpful for it. And I think the main thing on it though, is just recognizing when you're seeing it happen. I mean, you're seeing and you're going, hey, Bill is really trying to push my buttons, and then he's giving me mixed messages, right? I mean, part of it is being able to say, that it's happening, right? Recognizing that it's happening and go, wow, this person is trying to gaslight me, and being able to see what they're doing. Then it gives you the ability to kind of step back and mitigate it. The hard part is going to be is whenever you're still being triggered by it because other people, your ex has done it, and you've been, kind of like what I was talking about with that situation that I was talking about, where even Debbie was treating me nice, but it was really triggering me. And it was for me to get through that, It was a combination of that book I was talking about. It was therapy. It was hypnosis files about letting go and unrequited love, and and I have those listed on my on my website. All of those things together, and then learning about narcissism and like these the videos and stuff like that. Even though there wasn't a lot of people out there doing the married kid custody thing, that was what really helped me, and it took a while. I mean, it was one of those things where it wasn't like a magic pill. It was changing your mindset and keeping other people at bay that that you recognize are toxic. So, but hey, Liz,
and
if you
that's my thing is it a guy? Yes, go ahead.
No, I was saying,
that's my thing is it a guy-gal miscommunication, or is it, that's where I'm at. And then it's weird because this person actually has stuck through me with everything I've been through, right? I told you about my kids and their false accusations, and now my next step going forward. But he sticks through everything, and we talk for 5 hours at a time. But I finally got to a point where I told this person, look, I need to finish the divorce now. It's in its final stages. And ever since I stopped texting.
Uh-oh, I think I lost you. Okay. Darn cell phones. Okay, I think I know where she was going with that. And what I'm going to say on that, let me turn off the live caller, is, okay, just because somebody is supportive of you doesn't necessarily make them a good person. And I've, excuse me, I had some dilemmas on this myself, where you get to where you feel like, okay, well, this person is supporting me, so they got to be okay. And then you feel guilty if you start to back off. Now, what I would say is that if you put a boundary and they don't respect it, that is a really, really big warning sign. Okay. And the sad part is that, okay, actually, I think you popped back in. Let's see. All right. No. Oh, crap. I just hit the drop button instead of, sorry about that, Liz. Dang it. I don't know if, technically, I'm going to try this. It says I can call you back, so I'm going to see if that's going to work. I have no idea if that's going to work.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system.
Okay, that did not work.
90.
No, don't read the number. Holy crap. Okay, I won't be doing that again. Anyways, okay, my point is, and then we'll end on that, is if somebody, if actually you pulled back up. So let's see here. Oh, it's not working. It dropped again. Okay, so not sure what's going on with the phone line. Anyways, let me try this one more time. What I'm trying to say is the best way to test if somebody is toxic is whenever you put a boundary up or you say no. Okay, so when you mentioned that, you said, hey, I need to focus on this other thing. We need to slow this down. And the reaction is negative. That is a really bad sign. And I can get how you could feel guilty, especially if this person has been with you and been helping you through this process. You kind of feel like an obligation and you want to believe the best of it. The thing is whenever somebody shows you who they are, you need to, we have to listen to it, and we have to be cognizant of it. Hey, hold on a second. Check this out. Alex has at 1,003, which means he is going live tomorrow at some point. Congratulations, Alex, on the 1,003 subscribers. You know, guys, we've been able to I think just tonight, we pumped him up like 24, which I think is a pretty good day for him. So that is awesome. So congratulations on that, Alex. Let me delete this out. And Liz, thanks for the call on that. I hope that was helpful. What I was going to ask you earlier is, email me so we can chat some more about this. Let me get all this stuff out of here. And, okay, I'm just trying to get my screen. Whoa, that didn't do what I anticipated it was going to do. There we go. All right. Let's see. Whoa. Okay. So let me scroll up and look at the okay, the live caller thing is done. And yeah, everyone's saying congratulations to Alex. That is awesome. Congratulations, man. Hey guys, if you don't realize or don't know, the first 1,000 is really tough. It's really hard to get to on YouTube. So that's a huge milestone. So congratulations, Alex. I'm glad we were able to see that. I didn't have it on the screen when it happened, but to be able to be live when that happened. So I'm really happy for you, man. It looks like there's another caller coming in. And let me just look at some of the comments real quick. Nikki says the guilt and over explaining everything is hard to break. It takes a long time. It really does. Oh, there was a question. Oh, Pencil has a question. So let me grab this before I grab the phone call. And whoops, not there. Let me go down. Where is it at? There we go. All right, and paste that in there. And good to see you, Pencil. All right. So, question: have you heard of stories of ex-family members, for example, like my mom and dad? Like my mom going to my dad's funeral. My dad says for my mom to stay away from his family or he will bug her family. Yeah, that's that actually Pencil is actually kind of common, and it's partly just them inserting themselves and trying to make things as messed up as possible. And more than likely, let's see, because you said like my mom going to my dad's funeral. More than likely, the way the conversation is going to go, it'll be that your mom will say, well, we were married for a really long time and I was friends with your dad and it meant a lot to me, so I should be able to go, right? And there's some logic behind that, but at the same time, here's the deal, okay? Let's say, I think for most of us in this situation, let's say that that one of my ex's family members passed away. I mean, her dad passed away, which I really liked her dad. He was really a cool dude. But let's say that he passed away and I wanted to pay my respects. I would not, unless I was specifically invited, I would not go to the funeral. Not going to do it. I would go later. I would go and pay my respects at the gravesite or whatever later. And the problem is people who are toxic and trying to make everything about them, they don't care. They will do that. So Pencil, absolutely, that is something that will happen. And then it sucks because now your dad, or the target of this, is wanting to grieve his situation, and now he's having to deal with this extra garbage on it, and it's really sucks. So, but yeah, that I have absolutely heard of stories like that. And it's even, the other part of it is there's other stories where, when you have toxic family members, where it would be that your dad's mom would be friends with his ex and, and side with her over family. I mean, Lyell earlier was talking about blood being thicker than water, but sometimes it's not. It really depends. Okay. So let me get back to the main screen on that. And yeah, I just saw that his number dropped back down. That's kind of a bummer. We got another call, so I will grab that here in a second. Was there any other questions, James, or am I current with the questions? Liz says, sorry for that. I don't know. I think what happened is you dropped, and then when you called back, I accidentally hit the drop button instead of the talk button, and then it just circled. So, James, I'm glad you reminded that. So just a friendly reminder, names are public. So if you are worried, like, Lyell was talking about the different stages where if you're at the earlier stages on this and you are worried about people seeing that, then you can change your name and you can change your YouTube channel name within the back end, or you can actually create a whole nother channel to be as a handle. And let's see. Oh, I can't even see the likes. The Lazy Tacos has 44 in chat and 17 likes because my like thing is busted. I don't know what happened there. Okay, so I'm going to try to grab the next caller. And again, if you are connected up, turn your volume down on your computer and put headphones on if you can on your phone. Hello, this is Dwayne. Are you there?
Hey, it's Alex.
Hey, Alex. So you call me back whenever it's actually
They
1,000.
made me. Yeah, they made me call. I don't really know what to say except thank you to everyone. That's all I was going to say.
No, that's well. You know what, Alex? I just, and since you're on here, I just want to say, man. I mean, you've you've put out a ton of content, and it's taken a long time to get to this point, and you just persevered, and you've kept sharing this information, and you are, I mean, you have a unique voice in this, and are able to really enlighten people on the process and give them information to help them with their attorney if they're dealing with an attorney, or to go it alone. And the value that you're offering to everyone out there, I personally think you're an underrated channel, and I hope that you have more more growth, and keep building on it, because what you provide. I mean, I don't know if everyone knows, but Alex is connected with a lot of folks within the Discord, and I mean, I know he's connecting with people on his own channel, and he's really helped a lot of people to change the outcome, not change the outcome, but to really help them deal with their situation. So I don't know. I mean, you gotta say something profound to really help people right now. Not to put you on the spot, but you're on the spot.
Well, I've got to choose something profound. The first thing that jumped out at me was that I guess I just realized just now, in this moment that you said all of that I applied the same tenacity to getting to 1,000 that I did to all of my court cases and the Supreme Court publication and stuff.
No, that's a good point.
That same attitude.
Yeah, and I think if you guys aren't familiar with Alex's story, I mean, he wasn't winning in the beginning. I mean, he went through a lot of iterations to where the family court system was trying to steamroll you, and you persevered. You figured it out. You couldn't afford an attorney, which was probably the best thing that ever happened to you, and you ultimately were able to protect your child, focus on the behavior that was actually happening with your ex, and ultimately get, if you guys don't know, he was able to get full custody and sole custody, and ultimately terminated his ex's parental rights, and his new wife has adopted their son. I mean, it's a tremendous story that you've gone through and what you've been able to accomplish. So
yeah, it's incredibly rare to get that outcome. It's the only way you can ever truly feel safe.
Yeah, exactly.
It sucks that it's that bad, but.
Well, we were talking the other day that the sad part about this is you have to get a crushing victory to really get these people to back off. And you were, I mean, but it took you 7-8 years to get to that point for the crushing victory. Yeah,
James wants me to tell everyone a quick version.
Go for it. Yeah. I mean, okay. On that, before you say that, just as a aside on this. Alex and James have been talking together, and Alex has been helping him on his train wreck, not on James's train wreck of a situation. But yeah, go ahead. I'd love to have that out there.
So I started out with supervised. Okay, so my ex accused me of domestic violence falsely. So I started out with supervised visits, 2 hours, 1 day a week, and within probably 6 months, the court awarded us both joint physical and joint legal custody. And then for the most part, I tried for 4 or 5 years to co-parent with her, but it was impossible. And so after some abuse and neglect came out, dental neglect specifically, I filed a motion to modify physical custody, and it was granted. Once I got physical custody granted, she just got worse. I call it the revenge cycle. So she wanted to get revenge, and she would act out at doctor's appointments, school appointments, and stuff. So my response was to just take her back to court over and over and over again. So I took her back to court 3 more times. And first I had her banned from appearing at any doctor's appointments and at the school. Then I had her in-person visitation rights suspended. Then I got sole legal custody. And at that point, things were peaceful for 2 years because she basically had no rights at all. And then after 2 years, I filed a petition to terminate her parental rights. And the court granted it and adopted my son to my wife. And it's such an extreme course of action for a court to take that the best way I can describe it for people to actually get the shock value of what happened is that they took the birth certificate, erased her name, and put my wife's name where it was. And it doesn't even say she's an adoptive parent. Like, my
Oh, wow.
wife
Okay.
jokes sometimes that she didn't even know she was in Reno giving birth, but apparently she was. And it's just like,
That's
it's
funny.
that serious of what it's so rare for the court to take that action, that this was just a case where I proved it over and over again. So
Yeah, you focused on the patterns of behavior and what was really going on. I mean, and if there wasn't legitimate, I mean, if that wasn't legitimate, it would have never happened. You would have never been able to do that. So,
no, I talk about it in my video, Petition for Termination of Parental Rights. And I tell people right off the bat, this is a video I never thought I would do. But
right.
it's rarely something that the court does, because the whole time the court is telling you, you guys have to co-parent, you're not going to be able to replace each other, and yet here comes Alex, and literally it was a replacement.
Right.
So it's extremely rare for that to be the outcome, and that's what happened. I mean, it's the details. Oh man, I could go on for hours. Maybe I'll save that for a live stream. I don't know.
Yeah, you should. Well, and then we talked in that original interview that we did. You talked about it, and then when we did the live show we didn't really talk about it on the podcast, but we've hit it before. But yeah, you should definitely do a video just on the story. That would be awesome. That would be good. I think people would appreciate that.
Yeah, I'll probably consider that. Monica Atkins asked what state. The state is Nevada, but before anyone thinks I got lucky, I won 4 appeals, which means 4 times the judges screwed up.
Yep.
Which means 4 times I had to go to the Supreme Court and fix their screw up. So it wasn't like it was just a cakewalk. And in the very beginning, a bunch of my motions were denied. And those are just the appeals. The publication was on a much more complicated legal paper, where I had to completely change the Secretary of State's fictitious address program because my ex had hijacked it. So, like, I literally, not just saying this, literally went up against the Attorney General, a senior deputy Attorney General, Chief Justice, whatever. It was just so many different attorneys, and plus my ex's private attorney. And it was just not, like, it's not easy. It takes work.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, man. It's hard to believe where we are today or where you are today. So, but before I drop you off the call, congratulations on breaking 1,000. Hopefully people don't drop out of it and you stay at 1,000. But either way, man, you're there. You're there. So since you're on, since I have you on the line, when do you think you'll actually do a live show? I mean, seriously, I'm being kind of annoying, saying you got to do it tomorrow, but what is the legitimate plan?
I haven't thought of that yet. I figured I was going to pick a weekend day.
Okay.
It would depend really on, or maybe I could just do it right after one of your shows, but I don't want to do it every week. It's going to be a once a month thing until I get a lot more subs.
Okay. All right.
But,
well, and if you need any help, just let me know. So, and before you go, where was it? I
probably will. Yeah.
Well, I saw a question. Oh, at Creeper Van, Kevin said, how much, this is a good one. I want to ask this. How much did that cost you, Alex? Everything. Cause I know we talked about that on the interview, but.
Okay. So since I represented myself, it cost me for my entire 8-year case. Let me do some math in my head. We're talking over 20 hearings, over 100 filings. It cost me about $9,000, and the bulk of that was from one single hearing. So I represented myself with the exception of 3 hearings. 2 of the hearings were my friends, my attorney friends that represented me for free. And the one critical hearing is where I spent $7,000. So aside from that one hearing, I spent $2,000 for all of the rest of my case, plus the termination of parental rights, plus the 4 Supreme Court appeals, plus the writ petition that I filed, plus the district writ petition that I filed, plus the child support you guys wouldn't, I did an insane amount of legal work for a teeny tiny bit of money. And I got cost awards taxed against my ex. And I got her hit with child support. So she probably spent $250,000 and she owes me child support in excess of $10,000.
And then the other flip side to this is if you would have paid an attorney, how much would this have cost you?
I can't even imagine. It would have been $1 million. Yeah. If I just did the custody case, it would have probably been $300,000 or $400,000.
Yeah.
The custody case alone was a monster of a case. Like I was carpet bombing her with motions, and the other cases were pretty bad, but the Supreme Court cases, you know that appellate counsel don't do those cases for pennies.
Yeah.
Each Supreme Court case would have probably been 10 to 15 G's. And the writ petition, I don't even know if somebody would have taken that case. That was an impossible case. So nobody thought I could win that one. And then the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court agreed with me over the government. So, I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, whenever you go live, or when you're planning on it, I will definitely let our folks know so they can find you. All right, Alex. Thanks for calling, man.
I'll just set a specific.
Yeah.
Since I'm on right now, I'll just set a specific date and time. So I'll do one. My first one I'll do tomorrow at 5.
5 p.m. Pacific.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. I have my kids, but I will try to do the phone thing and be able to participate. That would be awesome. All right. Thanks, Alex. Congratulations, man.
All right. Okay. Thanks.
Whoops, wrong button. All right. That is awesome. Alex has an awesome story. Hey, Chris Worry, if I'm saying that right, says, I'm in it for $44K so far. She makes $130K. I half that. She's dragging the divorce almost 2 years now. She is vicious in seeing my destruction. Yeah, it's really tough. I mean, I think I was around 20K for my half of it. This stuff is not cheap. All right, let me grab Pencil's other question. Where is it? Because I saw there it is. All right. So I'm going to grab his follow on and keynote. Okay. So follow up to, but what if my dad's mom invites my mom to the funeral, but everyone else on my dad's side is upset? It's a weird situation that I don't know what to think. Pencil, that's exactly what I was talking about. And it's one of those things where she shouldn't, I mean, it's what I was talking about before, right? And if your mom is that narcissistic type, then she absolutely is going to stick it in everyone else's nose, boop, and or in their eye, and push it. And and like I said before, the thing is, especially if she's been invited, it trumps everything, right? And it's tough. I mean, so I don't know. It's like it just depends on, and what's going to happen is, more than likely, even if somebody wants to, I mean, everyone would have to say, you know what? If she's going, I'm not going. And then you're going to have to deal with the ridicule and stuff like, really, you're not going to go to your own dad's funeral because, your brother or your cousin's ex is going to show up. And that's really the situation. And it's really, it's, man, I'm sorry. Because that is crap and it's not right. And that stuff happens. That happens a lot, man. And it's just one of those things that makes your head hurt. And then it makes you question whether whether your feelings or their feelings on it are appropriate or correct. It's not right. I mean, that would be like if, like I was talking about before, I mean, if one of her brothers or somebody that I cared about, who I haven't had a relationship for the last 6 years, passed, and I inserted myself into it, and I'm actually still friendly with, I mean, I don't talk, I mean, I pretty much everyone that's mutual, I've phased out. I tried to maintain some of those relationships and it was just too painful for me. So I stopped doing it. And I wouldn't, I think even if somebody else, whatever, even invited me, I don't think I would go. To be honest, I'm at the point now, if something happened, I'm not even going to go there. Never mind. Ugh. All right. Let me, James popped a question, so let me look at this. Can you? Oh, that's a good question. Okay, so let me grab that. Or let me try to grab that. Let's see if I can do my copy and paste without creating problems. Okay, and keynote. So James had asked, James H. says, can you talk about your support system video? Being cautious who you talk to, can also mean you support people. Stops you from healing. Yeah, that's a really great point, and I think I hit that a little bit in that interview that I did with Mike on the podcast. And let's see, how would I word this? You have to go through this continual iteration where you're reevaluating the people in your life, especially as you're healing through this. When you start interacting with people and you recognize that they're not necessarily helping you, then you have to make the decision to protect yourself, basically. And it's tough because whenever you have people who have been there for you, that you were able to call at the wee hours of the night and who appeared to be really supportive, then as you're learning more, you're realizing, that here's the thing. Some people thrive in the chaos. Some people thrive in your misery. Some people want to keep you in your misery, right? And so some toxic people in those situations will be there for you because your situation is feeding their narcissistic supply concerns. And then what will happen is as you're starting to heal, and this is what happened to me. This is basically what happened with me and with my mom and I, is anytime I started to get better, she would drag me back down on the pit of hell. It's like, oh no, you're not leaving. Well, it made my eye twitch. I haven't had that happen in a while. Just exactly like the way my ex would. It would be like, okay, I've decided that you're not going to be happy. And, and then maybe a little bit later, it's like, okay, you know what? I'll throw you a little crumb so you can be happy. So you have to, James, good question, but you have to continually reevaluate the people that you're allowing in your life and keep your support system strong, right? For me, there were people that I engaged with that over time I've completely phased out of my life. And it wasn't easy to do. Part of it was family. Part of it was friends I'd known for a really long time. And it was one of those things is as I progressed, I realized this person isn't healthy for me, And see, you can kind of mess yourself up with that because you can get into this mode. It's like, well, I don't want to be selfish. I don't want to be like, well, I don't care about you anymore. You have no use. I have no use for you no more. I'm done with you, right? I mean, I don't know what the hell that voice was, but what I'm saying is that it's hard for us because when you start doing that, you feel guilty. Somebody had mentioned that earlier, and that it's important to realize that you have to build your best foundation. And Blue says it was Italian. Maybe that's what it was. I don't know what I was doing. Hopefully that wasn't offensive to anyone, so I apologize if it was. Anyway, so that's my take on that. And I know somebody else was talking about, it scrolled up, but they were talking about how it would just be nice if their ex would just stop doing all the BS and be able to co-parent and be able to work together. And I so hear you on that. I'm not sure who said that, but it's tough. I used to struggle with that too, where it would be really annoying. Now annoying is an understatement. It would be very infuriating to, look at all the pain and anguish that was being actively created. And it's just like, if you just want to take your ex by the collar and say, if you would just put a modicum of effort into not being Satan, this would be so much better. But they can't do it. They enjoy the chaos. They want the chaos. They want to maintain the victim. They want to keep you on the ropes. I mean, it's infuriating. And unfortunately, there is nothing that we're going to be able to do to turn that around. We're not going to be able to convince them to, and I've talked about this before, we're not going to be able to convince them that, I think I'm going to decide to be a good human being. It doesn't happen. Anyways, you guys are killing me. Russian accent, Yugoslavian, mafia voice. Oh, I love you guys. You guys are awesome. Okay. Let's see here. And we're going to have to wrap it up. I really intended to only do this for an hour. I am going to turn off the phone line and let me do the caller audio so that doesn't go into your guys' ear. Drop that and end that. So I'm going to end that. So I appreciate all the people. Gosh darn it! Appreciate all the people who did call in tonight. It's kind of nice to make sure we use that. And now I'm just trying to figure out where I'm at, and we can kind of wrap things up a little bit. And did I miss any other questions or anything, James? Or either James F or James H? Are we current on stuff? Please do it again. It was great. No. Irish accent. Borat. I've never seen that movie. Hey, I hope you guys are laughing. I hope that it kind of like, I mean, you know, the thing is that these topics are really, really tough. You know, I mean, I try to make it light and try to keep it as positive as possible because, I mean, it just can't be despair all the time. And, you know, and it's hard. It's really tough. And, you know, and to kind of wrap this up with what we were just talking about and with what the topic of this particular video was. Liz says, read my comment. All right, let me see if I can find your comment. Now you got me curious, Liz. Why you want to take them by the throat, caller? That's pretty funny. Okay. I just lost my train of thought. What I was going to say is, take this process slow, and I absolutely understand that that's probably the last thing that anyone wants to hear because you want to get out of this pain and the way you're feeling quickly. And part of the problem is, and this is the issue that happened with me, is when you get in that mode where you want to get out of it faster, it makes it worse and it makes it harder to get out of it. I believe if you can get or make your peace with the fact that it takes a while and you slow yourself down, that it will happen. It actually speeds it up. But when you're in that mode to where you're like, okay, no, I need more friends, or I want to trust these people, or I want a new relationship, or I want this, or I want that, it sends you into this infinite do loop that makes it so much harder. Rod Smith says, are they harder on people of color in family court? I think the family court does a pretty good job of just destroying it for everybody. I don't think it's necessarily race related. I think it's just typically there's a bias against the payer and the payee. Now, conversely, though, and there's also a bias on whoever happens to get custody. So if you're a guy and you get custody, and your ex-wife doesn't, they will probably brutalize her just as they would brutalize anyone else. Do it. Now, granted, that doesn't happen as much, but there's folks in here who have been on both sides of the gender side of it, if you want to call it that have been just brutalized by the family court. Now, you need to make darn sure that you don't make any mistakes, that you communicate well. You don't give your ex any ammunition to show that you're being abusive or attacking them or saying derogatory things or whatever. You have to be on your best behavior. And it's tough. And if you make mistakes, then it makes it harder and harder and harder. I don't know if that really answers your question. Who was that said that? Where did it go? Rod Smith. So Butte says they only see green. Yeah, that's pretty much. Chris says, trusted female child advocate would see through her lies, but advocate bought into it, lost any decision, legal custody, and now only have every other weekend. Man, I'm sorry. And then sometimes that's the way that goes. And what I will say, though, is like check with Alex, because sometimes if you could find a procedural error, and this is rampant in family court, where the judges make decisions that aren't based on anything, that they don't really get to make the decision, right? That's not based on law. They make a decision. And that's how Alex was able to win, and it took a long time. Chris, I don't know if that's something that you're interested in looking into, but you can ping Alex over on his channel, or you can or you can get on the Discord and get with him there. Let's see. Dynasty of 3 says you have to put yourself and your kids first. And I would even say you have to put yourself and then your kids first. Because if you're not able to get yourself stable, you're not in a good position to help your kids get stable. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. Oh, Nikki Leah says it's not a gender thing, it's a narc thing. Yeah, and that's, I mean, and here's this, you know, it's really weird because what's happening is there's starting to be a shift, and it's like, you know, narcissistic men are starting to realize what the game is, and they're doing the same thing that the narcissistic women used to do. And if you're a target of that and you're not paying attention, see, that's the hard part about this. And Rod, if you're early into this, this is an important message for you, man. And this is, you have to know what you're dealing with, because if you're naive and you're believing the lies and the nice, what will happen is you will think that you guys are under agreement, and you will walk into court and it will blow up in your face because you're not prepared for it, and it doesn't happen. You need to have your defenses and everything ready so that if something happens, you got your game face on and you're like, no, I don't agree with that. And you don't get blindsided. Okay. You asked if they ever, where'd it go? Do the narcs ever get karma? I believe they do, but it doesn't happen in the way that we think. For instance, like in my situation, 4 years ago, karma in my mind would have been her hitting a brick wall. Okay, let me back up because that's still, what I mean is life would catch up to her, right? That the courts wouldn't have given her as much money. She would have to get a job. She would have to deal with things and deal with the hardness of life and heartache and everything. And none of that's happened. Do I think that she's my ex is reaping karma? Every day I think she is. And part of it is, James had said, what did he say? I'm trying to, their karma is they will never be happy. And that's a really great point, because they genuinely don't know how to do it, and they destroy everything. And if they do find someone else and they appear to be happy, they are doing the exact same thing that they did to us. They are love bombing, they are mirroring, they are being everything that they need to be to that other person to suck them in. So absolutely, they will look like that, like it's a paradise. Give it time, because it's not real. It's not based on a genuine, that your ex, my ex, anyone else's is not presenting who they really are. And you cannot keep that facade up. Now, depending on the codependency issues and what the issues are with this new person, it could take a while, and they could be in the illusion that they were happy. In my story, I was miserable for 21 years and I didn't know it. And if you guys could find my personal blog, and if it's still up, you'd be able to see the anniversaries where I would say I'm so in love and I'm so grateful, and every year is better than the last. And I was in a torment in all of that, struggling to make it through every day, trying to hold on to the illusion and the facade, and it wasn't real. They are stuck in that. Okay. All right. Anyways. Okay, I'm trying to look at the comment. I see Stephanie Smith says, preach, come on, somebody. I'm not sure what that means, but welcome to the show, Stephanie. Let's see, Dynasty of 3 says, sometimes I wonder, do they even have a clue of who they are? I think they do. Danielle says, what do I do about my daughter never responding to my texts, and she never contacts me? She's 15 and moved back with the narc jerk. It's breaking my heart. Not Alex. John Steinbeck from Brainwashing Children. If you haven't had a chance to listen to the podcast I did with him, he phased out, or whenever he was having a rough time with his son, he backed off. And what he would still do is send texts every once in a while and reach out to his son, just saying, "Hey, thinking about you," right? And it's gonna hurt. It's gonna be tough. But that's what you do. You keep the lines of communication. Let your child know that you're still in their thoughts, and go from there. and it's tough. And it's Danielle. It's just, it's I can't sugarcoat it because it's really hard. It's really hard whenever your kids are effectively rejecting you like that and falling under the spell of the ex. Nikki says, same here, 13 years. I was trained to be a people pleaser. I wasn't living, just surviving. Yeah. And you were probably, Nikki, you're probably doing the exact same thing I was doing, is that you were trying to convince everyone that you were happy, you know? And it's tough. Okay, so James said there was another question. I'm trying to see if I saw that. Oh, I hit that. Oh, Butte says, question, I still need to see that podcast you did recently outdoors at DSD. Yeah, let me do this. What I'm going to do. That microphone's in my way. Okay, if you go over to my website, right? Let me just go to the main screen. And sorry, I'm messing with the microphone, guys. Sorry about that. Okay, you can do it two different ways. One, you can do it a couple different ways. If you listen to podcasts on iTunes and Stitcher and Google Play and all that stuff, you can subscribe to the podcast there. It's Break the Cycle with DSD, and you can get it there. If you don't want to do that, you can go to my website, go down or click on the podcast link, click on the latest podcast, which is the one with Mike Cassidy, Why Friends Are Important. That's that one we did outside. And then here's the show notes, and you can actually listen to it right here. You can listen to it right in your web browser. So if you don't want to download anything, or you don't want to subscribe to it or turn anything else on, that is a way that you can do that. And since I'm here, if you want to sign up for let me get in the right screen. If you want to sign up for the newsletter, on all my pages, it has an option right here. You can just sign it in, and it'll put your email into my list, and I'll be able to email you directly. The resources I was talking about earlier, let me scroll down over here. That was the book I was telling you. No, that's not the book. This is the book I was telling you about. Rebuilding When Your Relationship Ends by Bruce Fisher and Robert Alberti. If you did the Audible trial .com/DSD, then you'd be able to get that book for free and try it out for 30 days and see if you like that. You can, that was a really good book that helped me. This Divorce Poison was given to me by a friend of mine as in the beginning stage of the divorce. It was really helpful. What I was talking about before, I mean, when I was really in my spiral into the darkness, these hypnosis files did help me mend your broken heart, get over divorce, let it go. And it's guided. It's kind of like a guided hypnosis thing. And I would listen to those. I would just put them on my headphones, lay down, and it says sit down or whatever. And I would just play them over and over again. And I was really in a bad spot. And that stuff, coupled with a great therapist, and books like this and some other books I need to put on this list were really helpful. So that's located under the resource tab. If you want to support what I do here, you can do this with make a donation, or you can do it with the super chat. But there's a few people who have done that through the PayPal link. Until I can find a better way to do it, like through Patreon, which I just haven't done. And I always talk about my Mindset for Narcissistic Abuse Recovery playlist. If you're starting out on this, I would highly encourage you to do that. You can find that on the main page on my YouTube channel. This is in YouTube, and it's the first playlist. And this collection, I think it's 44 videos, can really hopefully help kickstart your recovery. And on that, guys, I mean, we're rolling up on the 8 o'clock hour. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me tonight. I appreciate that we were able to get Alex over 1,000. Hopefully he stays over 1,000. He really deserves it. He's doing a lot of great work. On that, man, just take things slow. Take things slow. Can I post Alex's link over? Yeah, sure. What I'll do, let me do it this way. You just go to YouTube, type The Proper Person, and that's him right there. So that's his channel. Oh, thanks, James. Appreciate it. Here you go. Here you go. Russian accent Dwayne Vodka Fund. Here you go. I'm not even going to try to say it. Thanks, James. I appreciate that, man. I digress. Oh man, I digress. That was funny. Okay, so let me hit this. And I think Lyell. Lyell asked a question? Where do I get the book? You can. Oh, Amazon. Amazon's the best way to get the book. Let me go back over here. That's the book I was talking about. And if you're interested in, if you don't want to type in audibletrial.com/DSD, if you actually go to the website and you go to the podcast, I put a link to that right here in the show notes, right here. This show is brought to you by Audible. Get your free book and a trial membership at audibletrial.com/DSD. Holy crap, I butchered that one. Hopefully they don't listen to that. They'll pull me out of the darn program. All right, guys. On that, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being as amazing as you guys are to each other. I don't think we had a troll, but thank you to James F. and to James H. So now we have 2 moderators keeping us safe and watching everything and keeping everyone on track and keeping me on track. I really appreciate it. I will, let's see, I'm trying to remember. As far as I know, I will be back on Tuesday. It is a 3-day weekend, so I have the kids. Luckily, it's been enough years that the weekends have rolled around, so I'm getting the 3-day weekends now. So I have my kiddos for this weekend, and if I remember correctly, the kids go back to school on Tuesday, including my son in college. So as far as I know, I should be good to go for being here on Tuesday. If something happens, I will let you know. So no, Liz says, was there a troll? No, not tonight. I don't think there was a troll. We had a pretty good show. On that, guys, take care of yourself. Be kind to yourself. Like I said before, take things slow, and know that it takes time, but that you can get through this. On that, have a good night, and I will see you in the next video and on the next live show.